Hi everyone, it's Bella, and today I'd like to speak to you about the full moon on the 10th of September 2022 at 17 degrees of Pisces. Now, this moon is happening in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada, which is early blessed feet, and it is a breathing spiritual fire symbolism. The main symbol is the front area of a funeral cot, and the deity associated with this nakshatra is the one-footed goat. Now, this nakshatra is traditionally associated with catabolic activities, combustion, both in the metaphorical as well as the physical sense, as well as with fire and heat. And it can also be associated with painful incidents, whether that's emotionally or physically, and certain kind of penance that is also linked to this nakshatra. Therefore, any actions that have been produced in the past, that have been carried out, in circumstances that produced pain or hurting in others, can bring up regret and guilt, sadness, and even difficulties during an activation here. Now, this moon is also happening in the decan of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, as well as the Dwad of Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And Venus is currently in the sign of Virgo, which again leads to the dispositor being Mercury, which is just stationing retrograde in Libra under Venus. So there's a mutual reception here, a working together here between these areas. So again, pointing towards forgiveness, letting go of the past, of past programming, letting go of escaping and focusing on the act of healing that starts when we start balancing our sacrifices, balancing our service to others, balancing our agreements and responsibilities with others, taking better care of our health, which is body, mind, and soul. With Venus in Virgo as the main ruler here, love is in the details, and success is in the details that makes the whole. And focusing on the now and the present and the process is very important, as life is happening now. And it's important for us to deal with our past as much as we are made aware of it still being controlling in some way, or still having serious effects on our mental health and our physical manifestation in the world and our relationships. When we can start healing our pasts and freeing ourselves from the bondage connected to that, and being able to actually, in a more free way, live our day-to-day, moment-to-moment lives more freely, we are enriched. And then we won't miss out. But if we don't let go of the past, if we don't stop the negative patterns that we are repeating, if we don't change what needs to be changed, then we could miss out on life. Now, with the sun opposing the moon, as it is in a full moon, which in this case can also affect us for about 2 weeks, but it can also be a little bit beforehand. So a week before the full moon, about 2 weeks after the full moon, where we can really feel the intensity of it. And we could feel as if our minds and our feelings are at odds. This is especially intense with opposite sex relationships. So there can be a lot of hiccups in these relationships, but there can also be intense attractions, maybe even to people that are not necessarily the types that you normally go for, but the pure intrigue of the different nature of them could be quite appealing and magnetic under a moon like this. Now, our work is in the balancing act of these two areas of life that are seesawing at this time, the area of Virgo and Pisces. There's definitely in these two areas of your life, there are things that needs to be rebalanced and revisited in some way. Now, the sun and moon is also squaring Mars, creating a T-square, and with Mars under Mercury's authority now at a powerful standstill of station retrograde. This can be a very emotionally reactive and erratic time. We could experience needless or purposeful arguments and or debates that turn into attacking conversation. We could really be hurt or hurt others' feelings with our words and actions. We could be much more accident prone and irritable. It is imperative that we breathe, we take a step back, and we think before we act. Also be more careful around the home regarding impulsive mistakes or violence, as well as cyber attacks and online criminal activities, such that also includes mail and delivery scams, can also be much more rife at this time. It is possible to attract dangerous events or people with this energy. People can just seem more difficult than usual. So watch out also for selfishness during this time. It would be a very good idea to calm ourselves with meditation and practice pranayama, which is breath work, working out physically, and spending time in nature or with beautiful music or making art. As this is a Pisces full moon, this is all about art and healing and connecting to that which takes us out of this world, which is art once again and music. This will help us to release excess energy, stress, anger, and calming our minds to regain a sense of control. And if you channel this passion wisely, you can really create magic, as well as find that your physical strength is quite powerful at this time. Usually with a Pisces full moon, especially one like this, we can feel like we need to retreat in a sense. We need to go more inward. We need to spend time really tapping into why our feelings are being triggered, why we are being so emotional, what it is that needs to be healed. But also it is a time of endings in general. It's an ending in the Pisces house of your chart. It's a finishing up. It is letting go of something there that's been lingering for quite some time and has been affecting your present. And so there's a lot of endings with this moon, not just because it's a full moon and something coming to a fruition here, but also the fact that it's a Pisces full moon. It's a watery moon that deals with the past, that deals with emotions, but it also deals with going inwards, because so many planets are retrograde right now, that there is a stillness that's taking place for us to go more inward and deal with the psychological parts of ourselves that affect our daily activities and our daily existence and our closest relationships. But even though we might feel emotionally drained or drained in some area of our life, which most likely will be the Piscean area here, we are physically strong at this time. And it's important for us to focus on preserving our energy as well. Now, the sun is also trining Uranus, and the moon is sextiling it. And we may find that we are much more able to stand up for ourselves, as we are strongly motivated now to act independently and originally. We would like to do things our own way, and we may be willing to fight for it. But ultimately, it is about helping everyone. And that is where the drive comes from. For many, this can be an exciting, even an exhilarating time. It all depends on your perspective. But one thing is sure, though, you will be more inclined to honesty now. Your truth, however, it is judged by others. So it does not matter to you now. You stand by it. And this is a process of real purification towards that truth. Getting rid of whatever is not aligning with it. Moving things out of the way. Changing, readjusting, purifying. Keeping what you need, letting go of what you don't. To move closer to this truth that you can back. And there will be much more truth-telling that could be happening now, or revealed quite unexpectedly by someone you may least expect. So this is an energy that is great also for new encounters, expanding your view, and understanding of yourself and the world around you. Explore screams the sun, trine Uranus. So go outside yourself, outside of the norm, outside of the normal box that you think things should fit into, outside of your normal routine. Change things up a bit and see which doors open for you when you do this. Who knows where they may lead? Somewhere very exciting maybe. And we are in mutable energy now, and we're being prompted to change by letting go in the area of Pisces in our charts. Now, this full moon suggests an ending or a finishing up of past issues concerning your Piscean house that deals with endings in general, or at least the last stage of something, a final step towards healing, which includes possibly a sacrifice or forgiveness in order to move forward in a more freeing way, but an emotionally permeating moon. The sun is also quincunxing Saturn, and it's hard work getting through some of what we are dealing with, soldiering through criticism, staying patient, even when there are roundabouts and obstacles to deal with. Some can experience sadness or disappointment from a previous action that they have to deal with the consequences now. Also, like I've mentioned before, you could be dealing with guilt or some kind of consequence to something that's happened in the past. Faith over fear is important now. Try not to take on any more than you can handle at this time. Otherwise, you could become more prone to illness or exhaustion. So do not challenge authority at this time either with this aspect. The sun is also opposite Neptune, and this can bring about misunderstandings. It can bring confusion and even deception. And with Mercury now stationing retrograde, it would be best to not make any permanent changes right now, as we can feel differently as Mercury stations direct and moves out of its shadow phase, which I will speak about again with my next video Either way, what is highlighted now could be revisited in some way at this time. Now, the sun is trining Pluto, and even though there can be many obstacles with this full moon, we have the ability now to really deeply investigate our lives, how we want to live, what we need to change or cut in order to balance ourselves in our heart center. The sun is also trining the north node, it's sextiling the south node. There's great power in the details now, and there can be great influence over others or others over you. So it's very important, again, to realign that balancing scale with relationships, with responsibilities, and all of that. The moon is conjuncting Neptune, so it's imperative that we are aware of or beware ourselves of self-delusion and also getting lost emotionally. So for some, depending on your natal chart, if you are a very emotionally intense person already, this moon can just really make that even more intense. If you're not usually, this could be a much lighter experience for you. But depending on each individual chart, some people can really get lost emotionally. It is best to only speak or deal with problems and difficult conversations when you are sure yourself and the other party are clear-headed and not under the influence of alcohol. So beware of drug overdosing and escapism. It's important to stay away from negative people at this time, as you can be quite sensitive to others' energies. And that can be positive and negative. If you're around negative people, you can absorb that negativity. If you're around positive people, you can absorb that. Or you can just become very aware of what it is that you are exerting. What is it that you're sending out? And try and influence those around you instead of you being influenced by them. But when you find you are constantly surrounded by people because you have no other choice, it's important to put up as the boundaries that you need to in order to keep yourself psychically safe in that sense. It's also a great time to speak to counselors or consultants if you need help to just speak about something that's coming up for you at this time. Because this moon is really showing us what needs to be let go in order for us to move forward towards our future, because it's also sextiling the north node and it's trining the south node. So something is really ready it's working together. Things are working together with your Scorpio house and your Pisces house for you to really let go of something here. Whether it's just on an emotional level of forgiveness, or whether it's an actual thing or situation that needs to be cut. But there's opportunity here. When you make room, there's opportunity here. Now, Mercury is also trining Mars, and it again inspires us to overcome challenges and to actively change our minds and the way we see things. It strengthens the mental faculties. This is great for public speaking, and we could possibly hear a very powerful speech or information with these aspects. Also, because of the sun that's also trine to Pluto on the world stage, involving people and power. Now, Mercury is opposite Jupiter, and it can be easy for us to come across arrogant in our beliefs and opinions at this time. Therefore, use caution and again, breathe deeply and reflect before responding. Our eyes can be bigger than our mouths with this energy. So again, we're reminded that the magic is in the little daily details that make up the bigger picture. But it's also important to know that there's a lot of deception that is activated at this time in regards to the media, gossip, all kinds of things like this. So make sure that when you say something, you really do mean what you say. Venus is also squaring Mars, and this can bring about intense sexual attractions. This energy can cause breakups and arguments in relationships that are already on rocky ground. And in healthy relationships, this can be quite exciting and spicy. But also with Venus being in Virgo, again, we're going over our relationships and seeing what needs to stay and what needs to go, what needs to be rebalanced, and is this still aligning with where I'm going in my future? So all of these things are being reassessed. There can be a lot of conversations being held about this as well right now, especially also with the Mercury retrograde, as well as with Mars in Gemini. So this will be an ongoing theme, and with the nodes currently also in Venus and Mars ruled signs, we're very focused on our relationships at this time. New relationships can be mostly based on sexual energy with this intensity. Therefore, again, be cautious. Overall, this can make it hard to achieve balance and harmony, which is what Venus would like in love, business, as well as finances. But Mars can make the compromising factor a bit harder. Our relationships are tested under this, and whether our values is a match are brought under the spotlight now. Now, Venus is also quincunxing Jupiter, again bringing our attention to the imbalances and the give and take in relationships. So this will be much more apparent, which can create tension, resentment from feeling used by others, or past issues that come up. We have much to forgive and let go of, but we also have lines to draw, boundaries to set in order to make sure we're no longer overgiving or over-serving. Also, remembering that we teach others how to treat us. What we put up with will continue. So our self-worth and emotional sensitivity is a huge theme with these few weeks. For some, this energy can bring financial losses and gains as well. Now, I would also like to read to you the inside degrees for 8 degrees of Libra, which is where Mercury, the main dispositor of this moon, is stationed retrograde. A vast junkyard. So many things have come to nothing. Such youthful promise gone awry. All because essentials were not heeded. The basics were denied. This gross neglect opens 2 doors, both of which beckon. The near door is a chute downward into ever more of the same. It somehow has an alluring feeling at the entrance. The far door is almost lost among the rubble and hardly looks like much, but those who walk through it there begin slowly to turn everything around, to learn the most invaluable lessons from losing center, and even to regenerate into much better than new. From the vantage point of the gods, those with the courage to go far wrong are the likeliest candidates for the greatest turnarounds. For when you have been to the discard pile, you can feel throughout your whole being the miracle of tapping the lost chord and awakening in the midst of the madness. Lighten up, release the weight, the burden, the victim cloak. Get curious instead of what life could be like from a totally different angle. Color outside the lines. Remember that flexibility is strength. Look up. Give your cares to the Lord. pray about things, breathe, and let go. Everything you need, you already have inside of you. Thank you for listening. Please remember to share the love, like, and subscribe. You can also check out my Mars retrograde podcast on YouTube with the potential energies for each individual rising sign as well. I'll link that in the description box below. And also a reminder for the Mercury retrograde. I also go over the areas affected for each rising sign in my 2022 forecast videos that you can also look under my playlist for the astrology of 2022, where you get the overview for basically the whole year for each rising sign. There's an area there where I cover the retrogrades for you as well. May the sun shine bright on you this day. May there be blessings coming your way. Until next time, bye-bye.